So the life that we were trying to fit the Sabbath into is not the life that God has called. That's not real life. That's a false life. That's a lie of a life from the enemy who would want you to be overworked. Although a Sabbath day sounds great, I just don't understand how to fit it into real life. Now, I will just be honest with you. When I read this, I got tears in my eyes. I stopped, and I stared at it for a couple minutes. This hit me for some reason. And I had to ask God, why is this one? I'm going to have a fun time answering the other questions, God, but why is this one hitting me? And it's because this was me 4 years ago, asking the same question. Rest sounds good, God, but do you understand what I've got going on in my life? How do I make this fit? And then God made me hone in on the word real. How to fit it into real life. As if there's a separate life. As if there's an unreal or a fake life. Do we live dual lives? No, we live our life according to this word. This is real life. So the life that we were trying to fit the Sabbath into is not the life that God has called. That's not real life. That's a false life. That's a lie of a life from the enemy who would want you to be overworked, to be stressed out all the time, to cut your life short because you are stressed out, and that you feel like you have to perform, that you feel like you have to do things, that you have to cover for other people because they're not doing what they're supposed to be. That's not real life. That is a lie of a life. The true real life is found in obeying what God has called us to do. And I say that with total love because, again, I was there. I had to cut things out of my life. I originally had, I'll just be vulnerable, I had originally had Saturdays as my Sabbath because for me, serving on a church was like work for me. Like I didn't just come and set up some stuff and then sit down and have some coffee. Like I was busting my butt for 8 hours on a Sunday and it was exhausting for me. For me, that was for somebody that might be rejuvenating for you to come in and help. God bless you. That's fine. But on the team I was serving in church, they're constantly like, we got to do this Saturday, tomorrow Sunday. I'm like, I've clearly communicated several times that this is my Sabbath and that I'm not doing that on Saturday. We've got all week to do this. Just because your lack of preparation is constituting an emergency, it's not on me. And I had to come to a decision. It was a hard decision. I removed myself from the team because they constantly violated the boundaries that I had set up as my Sabbath. And this is hard decisions. I'm going to tell you guys straight up. If your work is constantly causing you to break God's commandment, you need to find a new job. And that's I'm not telling you right now, go quit right now at this very second. You need to put together a plan. But listen, real life is this life. Real life is the rest that God has for us. And if it's violating what God has called us to do as a witness and to be set apart and to keep it holy, we need to remove those things for our life. And some things are very simple. Don't do the dishes on your Sabbath. That can be simple. All the way to maybe you need to change your job. That's long term. You need to figure out how that's going to work. But I can guarantee you are suffering right now because you're not living the real life that God intends this to be a blessing and a gift in our life. Amen? That was much longer than I anticipated, but I hope it was beneficial. I hope that we were taught something today and that we can walk away. And just know that this, again, what do we do? What do we do? Simply make room. If you want to be hardcore and just say, I'm picking a day and everything's cut out, and I'll figure it out from there. Go for it. But also just know that you've spent X amount of years, allowing life to dictate what it dictates, and sometimes it takes time for adjustments. If you're in a rowboat, you can make a turn real quick. If you're on a cruise ship, it's going to take a little bit of time to get on a different course. But this is the course that we need to get on in life.